excited to talk about Leo. Leo is a fixed fire sign ruled by the sun. One thing that I think right off the bat is not said nearly enough about Leo is that Leo is incredibly generous. You know, they have this power of the sun that they can harness. And yes, that means that they enjoy the spotlight. And that's usually the first thing that people say is something about how they enjoy attention or the spotlight or something like that. But I actually think that especially Leos as they get older, or some of the more evolved Leos, Leo energy can be very, very generous. And it can do a wonderful job of sharing that spotlight and shining it on others. Beautiful leadership energy from Leo. But they can also be self-protective, which helps other people learn how to be self-protective. Leo kind of knows how to take care of themselves. Creative, confident, expressive. One fun thing about Leo is that they often have beautiful hair. Maybe not even because they naturally have beautiful hair, but because they take good care of it and they're sort of obsessed with their hair secretly. Leo really wants to have a positive impact on the world. They can be quite talented. Actually, one thing that I think is just amazing about Leo, I should have said this sooner. It's up there with the generous. I think it's because they're ruled by the sun. There's this crazy way in which a Leo can do anything. Like, you'll have this friend who's a Leo, and it's like, she like fixes your bike, bakes you a pie, puts together this like beautiful thing for your couch, like tutors your child, like somehow just like whenever a Leo tries something for a couple hours, they end up being pretty good at it. Things just come easily to Leos. They're good at things. Quite social, out of the box thinking with that creative side for sure. Yeah, they can be a lot of fun. You know, I've heard it said that if you went to a bar, there'd be a disproportionate amount of Leos there. You know, they can be quite extroverted and social.
Yeah, it's funny for me because it plays on both my positive and my high and low lights about Leo. Thank you for saying all those nice things about Leo. The first word that I wrote down was warm. I think that Leos have just a lot of warmth, and that's they are ruled by the sun. Of course, warmth is one of those qualities, but it's a personal warmth that is I've found across the board with the Leos that I know. There's like a magnanimous quality to Leo, and I certainly agree with the generosity that you mentioned. I wrote down generosity of spirit. Leos really feel good when they give to other people, and I don't know, it's not really even calculated. It's a natural flow of energy and wanting to do things for other people, or cook for them, or help them out when they need help, or give them time, give them advice, and just give. Giving feels good to Leo, and it's inherent. I think Leos can be quite direct. They don't hedge around things. There's a directness to the energy, and certainly a lot of creativity, just almost a bottomless well of creativity. It's a creative sign of fixed fire, and the sun does sustain creation. And I think there's a sustaining quality to Leo too. They can keep something going for a long time. They're fixed. So they're comfortable in that that sustaining the fire role. They do have a reputation for being organized. I wouldn't say that I find that across the board, but some Leos are quite good at organizing large, whether it's large data sets, large groups of people. They enjoy it. It makes them feel good. There's a big heartedness to Leo, and the other thing worth mentioning is their loyalty. Again, just an inherent quality of loyalty to those who they've bonded with. No matter, it can come to a fault too. I mean, people can you could wrong a Leo and they'll still, they might pull back a little bit and lose some trust, but they'll continue to stay loyal throughout life. It takes a lot to really cut that cord. Although I think when that cord gets cut, then the Leo can just coolly that's it. They walk away, but it takes a lot to get there.
There is so much around the rulership of the sun when it connects to Leo. And it's interesting for Leos actually to pay attention to the way in which their energy changes throughout the calendar year. If you're a Leo sun, they will feel the the signs of the zodiac, the sun signs, more than most people. We all feel them quite a bit, but Leos feel them a little extra, just like Cancers feel the moon a little bit more and a little bit more moody throughout the month. I feel like there's so much, though, with that metaphor, with them sort of being at the center. Like, I feel like a Leo is the center of things, sort of whether they want to be or not. Like, they might want to go into a situation and just blend into the background, and they, like, aren't allowed to. Like, the whole family sort of pushes them into the spotlight and makes them take over, or their friend group sort of looks to them to organize the dinner, or whatever it is. For some reason, Leo just sort of ends up at the center of things, whether they are trying to be or not. And I also think there's a funny thing about that, where there is sort of a subconscious or like an ingrained way in which Leo can see themselves as the center of things a little bit more than other people, but like not necessarily in a bad way.
You know, self-centeredness is one of my lowlights for Leo. No, I think that's very astute about Leo. And there is, you know, that self-centeredness can work in their favor if they're in the dramatic arts. Leos are, you know, known as the actors and actresses, and those who like to be on the stage and perform, which we didn't mention yet. And they're comfortable being in the spotlight. And as you said, even if they're not seeking the spotlight, sometimes, you know, the spotlight finds them. And maybe that's even slightly calculated, you know, like I'm thinking about situations where Leo is withdrawing, but like their withdrawnedness, I don't know if that's a word, actually becomes a center of attention, because everyone's like worrying, like, why are they, you know, creating this drama? And so that is one of my, you know, sort of in the minus categories about Leo, is the drama that they can create around things that it's not really necessary to create that drama. Sometimes they can be over dramatic, over dramatized situations, because life is in a way like an ongoing play, an ongoing theater set to them, and they're a player in that, and so things that can really kick up drama where it's not warranted, and that seeing things through their own lens is hard for Leo to break out of. There's this innate sense of their own specialness, and of course everyone is special and everyone is unique. I think Leo feels a little more unique or special, which is terrible to say, but it's kind of true. You know, it just comes with the territory, and it can be cathartic to try and get out of that zone of thinking, and really center other people before themselves if they can in certain situations. Their love of finery and lavish meals. You know, Leos love to eat and drink, and their love of all of that can have an effect on their bank account. They're, you know, unless they can sustain it, and Leos can be pretty good earners and pretty good in the business world and be independent and take care of their needs quite well a lot of the time. But there is a real love of luxury that can't always be sustained over the long term. And when you said something about Leos being, if you go into a bar, there's going to be a lot of Leos. Leos just like to celebrate, and that can really come back. It can come back to boomerang back and bite them in the butt through, you know, whether it's gout or certain maladies of overindulgence that they might not think of until it's too late. You know, the diabetes, things like physical ailments that come from just eating and drinking and doing what they want when they want to do it, because they're impulsive. So you can't do that for a long period of time without paying the consequences in most cases.
Leo is sort of they're sort of extravagant and sort of hedonistic in a way, right? They want to enjoy and celebrate and love life, and so that makes a lot of sense that extravagance and that indulgence can lead to ailments related to overdoing. They can also be spenders. They can overspend from the same place and get themselves into financial trouble as a result of impulsively, you know, wanting to have a good time. It's that sun thing. It's that ruled by the sun thing. They're ruled by the sun. They feel like the sun. That it's sort of a need to stand out, a need to be special, a need to succeed, you know, to be bright, and it can be quite a lot of pressure really on a Leo, a lot of self-imposed pressure to sort of be magnificent. And they are naturally, sort of, whether they like it or not, they command that room when they walk into it. But that need to succeed and stand out, I think, can definitely be seen as a shadow because it can be quite difficult for the Leos themselves, I think. For the same reason, I think sometimes Leo's need for recognition and admiration can be a bit high and can stand in their way. It's that's just connected to the same idea. I also think that there's something about a Leo who has lost their confidence that is not a pretty sight. And Leos will go through moments like this or experiences like this. Some will actually, have something that's difficult enough that it could shift them into this for quite a while. And whenever a Leo is in that place where for one reason or another they're not feeling confident, it's so hard to see. It's like when a Sagittarius can't be optimistic. It's just, it's really hard when a Leo isn't feeling good, I think. And their mood is so influential. Like they have such a powerful impact on those around them. So when they're in that difficult place, it really rubs off on others too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and Leos do need a certain amount of admiration just as fuel in their lives. They can go for stretches of time just on their own, alone, but generally speaking, admiration is the gas and the fuel they need to hit the gas pedal forward through life. No, you wish you could say they're just inherently confident, and Leos do have a natural confidence, but it is very much fed by other people thinking that, oh, they're talented at this, or they're good at that, or they're a great listener, or they're a good cook. They need that kindling.
Not like all internalized, like a Scorpio or something.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they're kind of the big kids, They're just big kids, basically, or we're big kids, I should say.
Two highlights. The ultimate highlight and low light.
Yeah, I think their top, their strongest trait, or one of them, is their optimism. Their natural positive outlook about many situations can be not only useful for them, but for those around them who are not being able to see through the fog. I think Leos tend to really see the bright side of things a lot of the time, and things roll off their back frequently, and they can just keep moving forward because they believe that things will get better, and they believe not only for themselves but for others. So that optimism, I think, is part and parcel to the Leo energy.
I have for my highlight, I was thinking with Leo of how they're that thing about how they do everything well. I don't know how they do everything well. They just kind of do everything well. They have that power of the sun behind them. And so I'm very impressed with Leos. They're impressive. And
so their low light, the low light for me is one that I didn't mention when I was talking about sort of the shadow side of Leo, is pride. I think pride can really mess up if they let it run too hard. Leading with hurt pride can get Leos in a lot of hot water, and if their ego gets bruised, they can burn bridges, and it's not a pretty sight, as you said. So pride for Leos are very proud, and they feel that that's wounded in some way. Yeah, they get into a tangle, which can be.
Ooh, I really like that. I want to take your answer. I want to concur with pride. I wrote something about how they. About that, how sometimes being the center of attention can make it hard for them to be in the background, and it can sort of cause different problems. And I feel like that's sort of adjacent to what you said. But it's interesting as well with like the lion and the pride and being so prideful and being this sort of king of the jungle, whether they want to be or not, and that sort of woundedness if not treated like a king, sort of. So I just wanted to tie in that lion symbolism as well. I think it really pertains to Leo, and also to their beautiful hair.